Adequate notice has been given in accordance with the Sunshine Law. Notice was published on August 20th, 2020 in the local source, the official newspaper for the Township of Springfield for the year 2020, and posted in the Annex Building on August 21st, 2020. This is the September 15th Board of Adjustment meeting. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we take a roll call, please?
Mr. Mark Cunningham,
Present.
Mr. Stephen Hochstein,
Yes.
Mr. Daniel Poltrock,
Here.
Mr. Harris Lawfer,
Present.
Mr. Stephen Furstenbaum, Ms. Kara Greco, Mr. Raj Sahada, Vice Chair Schnur, who's now the chair for this meeting,
Here.
and Chairwoman Jody Cohen, absent. We have a quorum, sir.
Okay, approval of the minutes from July 2020.
There you go.
Hello, Steve. Can I get an approval, a motion for approval on the minutes?
I move to approve.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Any abstentions? All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so let's move on to approval of resolutions. Application 2020-15, Christopher Ryan and Stephanie Gambino, 340 Mountain Avenue, block 1701, lot 12. This was a lot coverage variance for a driveway. Is there a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And
Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
and Chair Schnur.
yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Application 2020-18, Rajal and Janika Mehta, 60 Colonial Terrace, block 902, lot 37. This was a front yard variance for a fence. Is a motion for approval, please?
Move
Oh.
to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Jen?
Right. Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
and Chair Schnur.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Let me see. Jen, I think where I printed was cut off here. There's two other applications, right, that were Schiffman and Lindbergh. Those also were approved and need a.
That's
Okay.
for Schiffman, it's application 2020-20.
I found that one. Okay, I just had one thing that printed out weird. Okay, thank you, Jen. Application 2020-20, Michael Schiffman and Rebecca Young, 18 Benjamin Drive, block 3002, lot 7. This is a front yard variance for a fence. Is there a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Jen?
Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
and Chair Schnur.
Okay, the
Motion.
final application was application 2020-21. Nathan and Carrie Lindbergh, 1 Winfield Way, block 3513, lot 2. Another front yard variance for a fence. Is there a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Enthusiastically.
I'll second. Make it simple.
Thank you.
Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
and Chair Schnur.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to the current applications. We have We're looking for Yuri Bohr and his attorney. This is application. Anyone, we find them?
Yeah, I think they're on mute.
Oh, there you guys are. Okay,
Got
hello.
on mute.
You guys are on mute. Okay, hi.
Okay. Question. I have an engineer expert who's supposed to be on. His name is Ronald Sindurick. Is he on? I don't see him.
He's there. Apu, can you change his,
There he is.
That's him.
Okay. This is application 2020-22, Yuri Bohr, 29 High Point Drive, block 3209, lot 5. This is for building coverage and front yard setback variances and for a patio canopy.
Thank you very much, Mr. The Attorney and Chairman. I'm Clara Horelick. I'm appearing on behalf of the applicant owner, Yuri Bohr, for variance approvals, as was stated in connection with the proposed canopy awning over a bi-level backyard patio at Mr. Bohr's single-family residence, which is located at 29 High Point Drive. It's block 32.09, lot 5. And this is an S120 zone. The variances that are requested, which are pursuant to section 3514 of the Township of Springfield use ordinance, land use ordinance, is as follows. First is building coverage. The maximum allowable is 15%. The existing is 14.6%. The proposed is 18.6%. And as to building coverage, the canopy awning increases the building coverage, but it is only an awning that's affixed to the house, which is open on 3 sides. The only way to completely cover this bi-level patio, and it's bi-level because you come out sliding glass doors onto 1 level, then walk down 5 stairs to the lower level portion of the patio, is to affix this canopy awning to the actual house, which hence requires the building coverage variance. It's important to note that this canopy awning does not impact lot coverage, and the patio itself is all impervious. The next variance requested is a front yard setback variance. The minimum is 50 feet. Existing non-conforming is 33.89 feet, and proposed is 33.89 feet. So you're probably saying, why do you need a variance? Well, that's because the property is a corner lot, so it has 2 front yards. The proposed canopy awning requires a front yard setback variance because it will be situated in the front yard setback. But the canopy awning actually does not change the front yard setback calculation, as it is going over the already existing patio only. As to the location of the patio and the proposed canopy awning, while it is technically in the second front yard, the subject area is treated as the backyard by the resident. And then, of course, any other relief that, or any other variances or waivers or exceptions that the board deems appropriate will be asked for at this time. Now, this evening, I'm going to have testifying on behalf of the applicant, Ronald Sindurick, who is a licensed professional engineer whose expertise is in mechanical and structural engineering, and he is with Multitech Engineering, Inc. I'm also going to have the homeowner, Yuri Bohr, the applicant owner, give just a brief amount of testimony just regarding why he is seeking this canopy awning. And you'll see when I do call him that the testimony from the applicant will address the fact that the bi-level patio cannot be used and enjoyed without this canopy due to weather conditions. And also the fact that a temporary tent or some sort of a temporary covering just doesn't work here due to the bi-level nature and design of the patio. It's just not practical. So that having been said, I would like to swear in Mr. Bohr first. You can sit down.
Hi, Jim.
Hello.
I don't see Joe Biden in for some reason, but I guess he's not present.
Just answer the question.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm
You're
ready.
gonna have to be sworn in.
Mr. DeVore, would you kindly raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Please state your full name and address.
Yuri Boer, 29 High Point Drive, Springfield, New Jersey, 07081.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, the witness is sworn.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Boer, if you would just tell the board your reasons why this canopy awning is necessary at your property.
Well, the reason for that
I'm sorry.
primarily is because it's,
Mr. DeVore, excuse me, Clara,
Yeah.
we couldn't really hear you because you're too far
Oh,
from the
okay.
mic, so I think you may have to switch back and forth. Sorry.
Okay, so I asked Mr., can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. I asked Mr. Boer to please address the board and explain why this canopy awning is necessary for the use of the patio. Go ahead, Mr. Boer.
okay, well, one of the members just left, I guess. Not interested in my testimony. Well, it's the most, pretty much seriously, it's a bi-level patio, which means when I come out of the house, I have to go another probably 5 to 6 feet to go downstairs to to the main patio. And it's really inconvenient as far as, let's say if I'm gonna install the tent, it's only gonna cover the bottom. It doesn't cover the top. So you gotta run back and forth, especially when it rains. It's, like I said, it's very inconvenient. Plus, there's a lot of sun on my patio. The sun goes pretty much from the left to the right around the house. The sunset, there is a lot of sun on the sunset. Like I said, it's very inconvenient. When my parents visiting me, my friends, my relatives, I have a lot of elderly. My parents are elderly, my relatives elderly. Everybody complains that it's very hot. As you know, we had almost 100 degrees for a couple of weeks weather. It's pretty much a hazard to not have a canopy over the patio.
Mr. Boer, just to clarify for the board, and I've seen your patio backyard, there are no trees shading this area at all, is that correct?
There is no trees, the patio is open.
So it's all sun on the patio all day long, is that correct?
That is correct,
Okay, and when you sit out there, does it create also a glare on the eyes?
correct.
Okay, and obviously if it's raining or something, you cannot use this patio, even though it was intended that it is bi-level for purposes of coming from the house down and being able to use it on 2 levels for purposes of your family, getting fresh air, especially now with COVID. I understand that with your elderly parents, you would rather have them be able to spend some time outside and have people being able to be on the outside. Is that well? Correct? Okay. And have you attempted to try putting up a tent, and has it failed?
It's kind of failed once again, because primarily it's a bi-level patio. When you come out of the house, like I said, you come out of the house is kind of raised, the patio is below. You come out of the house, you make another, maybe you go another, maybe 3 feet, then you go downstairs, and then it's the main patio downstairs. So even if you install the tent, which sometimes I would, it does not cover the whole patio, does not cover the top patio. And every time that I have to run from the table, let's say from the patio inside the kitchen, you got to imagine going back and forth, especially when it rains.
The tent doesn't work.
It just doesn't work.
Okay, now you have an awning company that designed an awning, which the engineer is going to speak about. But in your conversations with them, they indicated to you that annexing this to the house would be the best way to cover this patio, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you did try to talk to them about any other ways of doing it, and the bottom line was that this would be the best approach, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. I don't have any other questions for Mr. Boer.
Okay, Mr. Board,
Hi, Dave.
hello, how are you?
Good, how are you? Long time no see.
Can you, so I have a couple questions and then, and sorry if members of the board have questions, but when you describe the patio, you're talking about both your top level and your bottom level, is that right?
Correct.
Yes, we're calling it a bi-level patio because it is on 2 different levels.
And, right, no, I've seen your property. And the, and having a retractable awning, why is that not a feasible solution?
Unfortunately, they do not make that kind of size. It's an oversized. I called in, I was told that this is just too much.
Okay.
So
I know it's on the plans here, but can you give us what the extension of the awning, what is the length and width of the awning?
29 by 25.
Okay, is, members of the board?
I have a couple of questions. First of all, the survey that I have here shows a 20.4 foot setback. Is there another survey that shows a different setback that maybe we don't have? Because it says 3389 on your, so, and the one that you have, that I got from, as part of my package, is there another survey?
No, this is the correct survey, and it was actually Michael Disco that reviewed this and said that 33.89 would be the front yard setback for purposes of this variance.
You see what I'm saying, though? On there, it says 20.4 at the right rear corner of the house. So I was just wondering, just for clarification, is that the setback?
Setback for the house, but that's not the setback for the proposed canopy.
Right, that's Mr. Suter. Yes, 33.89 is the patio.
Can,
I swear, I mean, Bruce?
yeah, let's.
Yeah, I was just.
Yeah,
about
I need to
say,
swear in my engineer, unless you have any more questions for
And
Mr.
I do
Boer.
have another question. You're talking about a canopy. Are we talking about like a canvas or a wood, or like, there's nothing in your application? What is this made of? What, or do you have
So
a
that's
picture of
what
what it looks
Mr.
like?
Suderick is going to testify to. It is a plastic top, a special material, and galvanized steel is the frame, but that's why I'll need him to give you those details.
Okay,
I really
those
just
were my
wanted
two.
Mr. Boer to give you an overview of what he was doing.
Okay, those were just my two questions in looking at the application. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Boer? Okay, let's, Claire, if you want to, we can move on to your engineer. Bruce, if you
Okay.
swear him in, please.
Yes, I would like to call Mr. Ronald Suderick. And Bruce, do you want to swear him in and get his credentials, or do you want me to? What do you want to do?
Let me swear him in, and then you can question him on his
Okay.
credentials. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Sure.
Please state your name and your business address.
Name is Ronald Sidoric, 834 Wave Drive, Forked River, New Jersey.
Thank you. Counsel, you could present him as a,
Thank you very much. Mr. Suderick, could you please tell the board in detail your credentials and where you are licensed?
Yeah, I'm a licensed professional engineer. I'm licensed in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. My specialty and discipline is mechanical engineering and structural engineering. I've been working with the awning guys for close to 30 years now, and pretty much know everyone in the industry and know how they build the awnings and how they install them.
Okay, and is your license in the state of New Jersey current?
Yes, it is.
And have you appeared before any boards before?
Yes, several of them, yes.
Okay, you just haven't appeared before this board.
That's correct.
I would present him as an expert witness.
Oh, your licenses are all valid, as of today.
My licenses are all valid. They're up to date. I'm also a special inspector for the state of New Jersey, code certified, board certified inspector for structural steel, welding, and bolting.
Okay, I think he'll do.
Okay, the board is accepting him? Okay. And I just want to point out to the board that there were 2 exhibits that were sent in, Exhibit 1A and Exhibit 2A. And Mr. Sudarik is going to speak to those 2 exhibits. First, I would like you, Mr. Sudarik, to give the board an overall explanation of this proposed canopy awning in terms of its material and how it gets affixed to the house. And then we'll go into your 2 reports, Exhibits 1A and 2A.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, just for the record, Council, were those presented prior to 10 days before the hearing?
No, those are not in your packet. Those were to be submitted as exhibits at this hearing.
Okay. Do we?
But they were added to the Google Drive. I guess that's how it works.
Right. Do we have those to put up on the screen so the public can see them?
Yeah, they were sent in advance, yes.
That question wasn't to you.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Mr. Bergen, I do have 2 exhibits that
Okay.
Mr. Moore shared.
When I guess the witness is going to testify, and when he gets to the exhibits, Mr. Sudarik, if you'll just say which one you're testifying about so we can post it.
Yes.
Thank
sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So Mr. Sudarik, go ahead and explain to the board the canopy awning itself.
Okay, basically, this is a standard canopy awning, which has 3 outboard posts, and the backside is attached to the building. The canopy, as the frames are made out of galvanized steel, and in lieu of canvas on the top covering, which is usually a standard awning, the homeowner elected to have plastic, which is plexiglass Lexan on the top. And the Lexan is the same material you have in a skylight in your home. It's durable, it's weather resistant, it's innocuous to basically water and everything else. The panels on the top are attached with, they're siliconed on the top and attached with tech screws, which is standard procedure, and the tech screws have a gasket on them so it doesn't leak. It doesn't leak water or snow or anything else. Basically, it's a standard design which is used all over. The back mounting is used by way of a Z-clip, and it's a standard bracket which holds the back frame, and it's bolted to the wall with a 3/8-inch bolt, and that holds the back end. The front, they've elected to use 3x3 posts. And if we look at Exhibit A, 1A actually, what I did is all awnings and canopies, flagpoles, signs, whatever, have to meet International Building Code and ASCE 7-10 codes. And the code for your area there in Springfield, New Jersey, since you're not on tidal water, is 130 mile an hour wind loading. It's 35 pounds per square foot snow loading and 35 pounds per square foot of live loading. Now, the live loading is really not important on this situation because nobody's walking on the top of this awning. So, but we still have to meet that code, and it does. So basically what I did is I cited the codes in Exhibit 1A, and I certified that this awning structure will meet and comply with the codes. And that's very important, because if we don't comply with the codes, then we have other problems, other issues. But this is code compliant, this structure. Now, if we go to Exhibit 2A, which I have, which is the next one, which is a letter I put together dated September 13th. If you want to post that on the screen. Okay. What this is just to validate my statement saying it's code compliant. I did a series of calculations, and I did calculations for the 130 mile an hour winds and 35 pounds per square foot of snow loading. And what's happening is, if you look at the calculations, I don't know if you guys are familiar with these kind of calculations, but we have a factor of safety of 23.8. Normal factor of safety on a structure like this is 3.0. So we are 6 times or 7 times, or more than 7 times, the structural integrity of what's required by code and by engineering standards. So this thing is not going to fall down. It's not going to go anywhere. And then also looking at the wind loading on this thing. If we have 130 mile an hour wind, that 130 mile an hour wind is going to cause a deflection of 0.96 inches. Now, are we ever going to see 130 mile an hour wind back there? Probably never, because you got all the houses in the area, whatever. But we have to comply to the codes. So this also is wind compliant, snow compliant, and it meets all the codes, local, state, and federal for this application. And otherwise, structurally, I certified that it will meet all this stuff, and that's what these two exhibits are for. Now, as far as the awning goes, this is a typical awning structure that's used every week, everywhere. The trusses on the top are standard trusses, the posts, whatever. Actually, the guy used, they're using 3x3 posts. He probably could have got away with 1.5 inches, but it's over designed, it's overbuilt, and it's going to be structurally good. So from that point on, does anybody have any questions or anything else I can answer?
Well, Mr. Sudarek, I have a few for you before you go to the board.
Okay.
And thank you for that testimony. The board also had received as part of the packet, just the photos of, not photos, but the diagrams of the canopy awning. So if anybody has a question for Mr. Sudarek regarding what he was explaining when he was talking about the posts and the like, they were in your application. And I just want to ask you a few quick questions, Mr. Sudarek.
Sure.
This canopy awning, the way it's being affixed to the house itself, you've already talked about the structural integrity of the awning. This is also structurally sound for the back of this house, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and with regard to the air and the light and the open space of this area of the property, this is not in any way negatively impacting that, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and in terms of any of well, there's actually, it's a corner house, so there's no neighbor to the right, there'd only be a neighbor to the left if you're looking at the property, but this in no way would impact a neighbor's property either, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Actually, aesthetically, it would look pretty good.
Okay, so aesthetically, it's actually something that would blend in well with the visual environment of that property, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and the fact that it's going over the already existing impervious patio does not impact drainage of the property in any way, is that right?
That's correct, because we're not changing the square footage or whatever, so it's the same.
Okay, those were my questions for Mr. Sudarek.
Okay, Mr. Rick, would you just describe these? You said the top of this looks like a skylight, it's the same material. Can you just describe that further? What are these clear panels?
Now, they're actually a smoke-colored panel, and it's made out of plexiglass, which is it's a Lexan material, and it's durable. It doesn't crack in cold weather, or it doesn't blister in the heat. It's what you would, if you would buy a standard skylight for your home and put it in your living room in the ceiling or whatever, that's what you would get. Same kind of material. That material has been used for years. It's a standard proven material.
Any questions from the board?
Question: Is there a picture available for the actual deck?
We just have some sketches of the frames and stuff. As far as the aesthetics go, actually, this total framework and everything would look a lot better than a canvas structure, canvas awning. Because a canvas awning, you have a valance going around, which flaps in the wind. You have all different colors, whatever. This is just going to blend right in.
Okay, so it's a smoke-colored plexiglass on top, and the post, the color of the posts are what, white?
Well, they're galvanized steel, which is like a dull silver color, like almost like a battleship gray.
I think it's also important to add that Mr. Boer's house is gray. So it all blends in color-wise aesthetically.
I mean, these posts can be painted as well. I mean, there's no problem with painting them. If the homeowner decides he wants to paint them, he could.
And this, by the way, this canopy awning is being, assuming there's approval, is being custom made. So there's not a picture of it already prefab, so to speak. It's being custom made for this particular property.
That's true.
And the length of the I think you said the projection was 29 feet, is that right?
Now, the projection on this awning here, sir, is 25 feet.
And
And one gentleman before mentioned about a retractable awning. Retractable awning will not work in this application. The projection is too far. Any more than a 12-foot projection on a retractable awning is dangerous.
Okay. And the what is that 25 foot, does it come to the end of the downstairs patio or to exactly to the end, or is it set back a little bit?
Well, there's, I was going to
right to the end.
Well, I was going to also state that the way the patio is designed, it's railed off at the end. So therefore, the awning is not projecting beyond the actual measurement of the patio.
I'm just wondering if it comes to the end and then the water, it's raining and it's does it create an issue with additional runoff from the water? Okay.
There are a few inches where they've looked into that issue. I mean, we're talking about a few inches beyond, but not anything of great length. It's enough so that it doesn't, if you're asking, is it going to fall back into the patio? My understanding is no. Would you answer that, Mr. Sudarick?
Yeah, normally what you do is you have the drip, we call it the drip line. And that's the edge of the awning that drips down to the ground. That's usually an inch or 2 inches beyond the end of the patio. So that would go onto the ground instead of onto the patio itself.
Right. So I guess my question then is this accurately reflected in the in the setback? It just, I mean, I don't know if it necessarily makes a difference, but just in terms of.
It really doesn't make a difference. I mean, how would you really measure it? I mean, it's just that's standard procedure, because if it drops the water on the patio, then it's going to splash back, and you just usually just have it just go just a little bit over, and that's it. This is a standard. I mean, this is a standard construction which has been done for 40 years.
I have a question. Do we have to do anything at the end of the patio for erosion now that all the water is now going at the edge of the patio? You need a gutter and a leader, or like how does that work?
You don't need a gutter, because if you didn't have the awning, the water's is going to go on a patio and run off the edge anyway. Okay. What the homeowner could do if they wanted to is just put gravel around the outside so that it doesn't splash. Standard thing, you use half-inch pea gravel.
Oh, Mr. Boer is going to comment that his design, he already has this now. If you would, Mr. Boer.
This is what I have now. After I finished up building the patio originally, when the house was finished, I had a little issue with the water was running down the ground, and it was kind of, was it erosion? It was a
He's
little
mentioning
erosion.
erosion, what you did to correct it.
So what I did, I would say maybe a foot right after on the bottom of the patio, all the way on the bottom, a foot like this, it covered with a gravel, with a boulder is like size like something like this.
Okay.
All the way. On the length, on the bottom, on the length of the patio. About, I would say maybe a foot, maybe a little foot and a half. It's covered completely with the boulders. Because I had that issue, and that's what we had to do. Plus, I put a couple trees, little trees on the bottom, so that prevents another extra erosion or anything like that. So I'm covered on that side. Again, if I'm not mistaken, Dave was at my property. He probably seen it also. So you can probably agree to that.
Any other members of the board have questions?
I think we're ready to vote.
Okay, is there any members of the public that want to speak on this application? No, okay. Seeing as there's none, is it to send it back to the board for a motion here?
Move to approve.
For a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Jen?
Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
Mr. Poltrock,
Yes.
Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
and Chair Schnur.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right,
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
thank you.
Thank you all. Jen, you look amazing.
Thank you.
I can log off now?
Yeah, I'll be back on for another one after the next one.
Thank you, Ronald. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just for the record, Mr. Sahada joined us. Hello, Mr. Sahada, as well as Mr. Furstenbaum.
Hello, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Okay, next, I guess we're gonna move on to, I think, Claire's got another case?
Yes, but I understand there's one coming right after this, and then I'm the next one. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So I'll see you after the next team,
Yes,
at the next location.
right.
Thanks again.
Go fast.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Okay, who we are looking for, James Karras,
Justine Hernandez, if she's,
yes, and Justine.
Mr. Chair, I have a conflict with this next case is that I do business with the father of the okay.
okay,
Apu, Rochelle Denning is on the third application.
The names keep bumping around on me. Sorry. Hang on.
It's good.
No worries, Apu.
There you go. Hi.
hello. We're looking for, oh, we've got everybody now, okay.
I think we have everybody.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is a continuation of application 2020-19, Justine Hernandez, 31 Rose Avenue, block 1201, lot 21, for a side yard, lot coverage, building coverage, driveway setback variances from an addition. So, Bruce, I think they were sworn from last time. I don't know if we need to do it again.
Yeah. I prefer to re-swear witnesses. So, Ms. Hernandez, are you going to testify tonight, or is it just going to be your expert?
It'll be, I could swear in too, but Jim will do most of the talking today.
Okay. So first of all, if you'll raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Justine Hernandez, 31 Rose Avenue in Springfield, New Jersey.
Thank you. And Mr. Karras? If you would unmute.
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please state your name and your business address.
James Karras, and my address is 27 Briar Hill Circle, Springfield, New Jersey.
And Mr. Chairman, Mr. Karas was approved as an expert in architecture at the first hearing. That we don't have to do again.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so, Mr. Karas, why don't you take us through, you've submitted changes to the application from July. Why don't you take us through the changes that you've made to the design of the project?
Okay. Yes, we took a look at the design, and we took into account the comments of the board. And so we think it was a very constructive meeting, and it brought up some very good issues. And we made changes in response to that. First of all, on the left side of the project, our left side setback, we consulted with the fire subcode official that we do need a 5-foot setback there as a minimum. So we set back the house.
But Mr. Karas, hang on 1 second. Is there a graphic we can put on the screen for you to walk through? I know this is in your letter, but Apu, is there, I think that perhaps the next page or one of the exhibits here might be more useful. Mr. Karas, you can read off of that, off your letter, but this way at least we can have the drawing here as opposed to, it would be more meaningful than just the letter on the screen. Okay.
Okay, sure. So
Is this the drawing that you need, sir?
that's it. Thank you. So on the left side, we set back an additional 2 foot 6 inches for a total of 5.3 feet. And that helps break up the long, previously we built up from the point of the existing building. So we had one of the comments of the board was that we had a long facade there on that side. So now we break that up with that setback. We think we're coming more into scale with the site. So we also, on the right-hand side, we previously had a 2-foot setback more towards the back of the building. And now we took that all the way back to where the existing building is, another 18 feet. And that should help with the driveway condition. Again, reminder, the whole lot is narrow. We're working with a 35-foot width lot where it's 60 foot is the requirement from the town. So we think that'll help on that side as well. So we brought that in 2 feet. In addition, we brought it back, the building from the back, we set that back an additional 2 feet. So previously where we had an addition that was maximizing off the existing building, we're now coming in 2 feet with the addition off the back. We also brought the paver came back the same amount, and plus we brought that back to 25 foot rather than 26. So the net difference is 3 foot back with the driveway pavers. And you could see by how it's delineated on the plan that we used permeable pavers. And so we got a reduction in the lot coverage. We were previously at 67.4. We're now down to 53.4. I did on the drawing, I added, just for comparison, the neighbor's garage on the left. So you see where, and that's pretty typical going down Rose Avenue, that most of these houses have detached garages, and we're going with an attached garage. We think we're pretty comparable, probably the smallest footprint as if we go back to that aerial, actually that was in an earlier submission, but I had an aerial photograph where one of the smallest footprints on that side.
If we can go back to that drawing for a moment, please. So while we're waiting for it to pull up, okay, here it comes. So the green area on the right, what is going to be here? This is no longer a building. This is now a grass area?
No, it's a permeable pavers, the paver driveway you're referring
I'm
to.
referring to the green areas here.
Oh, the green area, that's grass.
Okay. And just for comparison's sake, on the left, you were going back further. You were using up almost the whole envelope before, right?
Well, we were continuing the house from where the existing width, we were taking the existing width of the house and continuing back. And now with our new design, we are setting it back 2'6" on the left, 2 foot on the right, and we're not extending back. We cut that back by 2 feet. So I think the comments from the last meeting were that maybe we're a little bit out of scale. I think that was a valid comment. And so I think this brings us back into something that is a better fit for the neighborhood and for the site.
Right. Other members of the board, questions for Mr. Karas?
Yeah, I have one question, just academically. How far apart are the houses on either side? Because I was looking at the aerial photograph and it seems like they're like on top of one another. Just
Well,
as a matter of, academics.
Well, the existing, our property, I would say that's pretty typical, and it's 2.7 feet. The existing house is off the property line. There are driveways, so I'd say typically I'd say they're probably about 10 feet apart, considering the driveway's on the same side and it goes to the house. So it's kind of, that whole side of Rose Avenue is very similar.
And I think I appreciate the design changes on this. I think it definitely brings it more into scale. That's just my opinion.
Mr. Karas, I don't know if Mr. Disco is on this call tonight. I thought he had said last time that that permeable pavers, that you only got 50% of the credit. Is your calculation 53.4? Is that net of that 50%, or
that's using the area where I'm using pavers as 50% rather than 100% area.
You factored in the 50% haircut.
That's correct. That's correct. I did send Mr. Disco because I revised with the change in the impervious coverage. I know he brought up the comment that there's a low water table. There's a high water table here. So with the change in permeable coverage, I changed it to a 5. My calculations say we can go to a 5-foot deep tank versus a 6. So I did send that to him. I haven't heard back yet as far as if that's acceptable to him. I also sent him an alternate plan for just a stone bed, which the contractor for the project would like to do instead of a tank, and I haven't heard back from him. So I would like to continue working with Mr. Disco to get something that he approves of, but that meets the requirement.
And would you the garage is below the proposed deck?
That's correct.
And so where do you turn around here?
Oh, well, that's why we're coming back 25 feet. So you have a turnaround to get you into the garage. No, that
okay, that's a paver driveway. Okay.
Right. Yeah. We did try our approach early on. We would have loved to do it, would be to make a left-hand turn into the deck, and then we would have a full backyard full of grass. But the lot width makes that impossible. There's just not enough turning radius to do that.
Okay. Other board members, other questions? and the siding, I'm sure we covered this last time, is, what's the design of the siding of this project?
We talked about a vinyl siding, new vinyl siding.
Okay. Okay, and just so for it's a little hard to read on this sheet, but just to run through we've got let's see, maximum building coverage, maximum lot coverage, the driveway within 2 feet of the okay, so, and we reduce all of those things, okay.
Yes, the building coverage went from 36.3% to 32.7. We're still above, but I think we put a good dent in that. And just to reiterate, the lot coverage went from 67.4 to 53.4.
Okay. Members of the board, any questions before I open up to the public? Okay, are there any members of the public that wish to speak on this application? No. Okay. Well, I think it's it's a nice redraw on this. So seeing there's no further questions, and I know spent a lot of time on this our last meeting, send to the board for a motion.
Move to approve.
Mr. Chairman, will that be subject to approval by the township engineer of the runoff control?
Yeah, the stormwater management.
Yes, I think that's right. We need to, we'll put that in there that, for the pieces that are still with Mr. Disco, that any approval would be contingent upon, meeting his requirements for, those other pieces you discussed, Mr. Karas. And just for the record, can you just go through again which pieces that you have, unless you have it down, Bruce, what he has sent to Mike?
What I have is that there's alternate proposals for a shallower pit, or not having a detention basin at all, but having just stone, and that those are the two alternates that Mr. Disco is considering.
Okay, so subject to taking Mr. Disco's recommendation for the best solution.
Yeah, I move to approve on Mr. Disco's approval of outstanding issues.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Jen?
Okay, Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
Mr. Furstenbaum, I'll come back to Mr. Furstenbaum. Mr. Sahada,
Yes.
Mr. Furstenbaum, you're muted. Okay, and Chair Schnur.
Yes.
Am I unmuted?
You are now, Mr. Furstenbaum.
You mean I could really talk?
Yes, you can.
No,
Okay,
I get my one word in there.
okay. Motion still passes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you. I want to thank you for a very constructive.
Good luck, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Take care.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Now let's see how fast Clara was.
Well, she was, if she was planning on on a repeat grilling, I think we covered a lot of ground last time on the previous application, so.
Yes. Okay, I see. She's here.
Okay. Costume change and everything. Larry, you're on mute. Okay, thank you, Mr. Karas.
Okay, thank you.
Are you out of breath?
You're muted, Clara.
Okay.
Clara, you're muted.
Larry, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So, moving on, next application is application 2020-23. Bradford and Rochelle Denning, 20 Fernhill Road, 3304, Lot 5. This is, lot coverage and left side yard setback variances for the installation of a generator. So,
Okay.
over to you.
All right. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Attorney. I am representing Rochelle and Bradford Denning, who, as you said, live at 20 Fernhill Road in Springfield on application 2020-23. I'm Clara Horelick, and I'm appearing on their behalf for the purpose of the installation of a natural gas generator. And this is going to be at their single family residence, which is at block 3304, lot 5, located in the S120 zone. The variances that are requested with regard to the installation of this natural gas generator pursuant to section 3514 of the Township of Springfield Land Use Ordinance Schedule of Zoning Limitations are the following. Number one is a left side yard setback, where the minimum that is required is 20 feet. The existing non-conforming is 10 feet. The proposed is 6.3 feet in the location of the generator, but it's 10 feet that remains from the principal building from the house. And then the second variance is lot coverage, where the minimum required is 22.5%. This property was previously approved at 36%. Existing non-conforming is 40.2%, and proposed is also 40.2% because the generator does not change the lot coverage percentage, but it does add approximately 8 square feet to the lot coverage itself. And obviously, as would always be stated, any other relief or variances or waivers or exceptions that the board deems appropriate would then be asked for in connection with this application. Now, testifying this evening on behalf of the applicant's owners will be Rochelle Denning, and the testimony from the applicant will be addressing the location of the proposed generator, the frequent outages that are necessitating the generator, and the benefits of the generator. So that having been said, if you could please swear in Ms. Rochelle Denning.
Ms. Denning, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Please state your full name and address.
Rochelle Sion Denning, and it's 20 Fernhill Road in Springfield.
Thank you, counsel.
Okay, Ms. Denning, if you would be so kind as to first tell us why you are putting in this natural gas generator.
So we live on what's called the top of Springfield, and we lose our power anywhere from 2 to 3 times a year, minimum 3 days, maximum 12. The last time it was 14 days. So it is actually a necessity, whether it's the dead of winter or the heat of summer. We're without power for quite a bit of time up here.
And is it accurate that a group of you from the top section actually sent a letter to JCP&L regarding this? If you could explain that, and there's been no response?
So we have what's called up here the Baltus Rural Top Civic Association, where all of us up here, basically we treat ourselves as a community up here. Any issues or anything we get together on. And we had been arguing with JCP&L for quite some time about this. A letter has been sent and no response was given on it.
Okay, now in terms of the location of this actual generator, could you explain why it's being put on the side of your home, which is of course necessitating the variance?
So it's going on the side of our home. Right now, we drag out a portable generator, which is quite loud, quite heavy. Hate to admit it, we're not 18 anymore, and it's a lot of work to take it from the garage, drag it up the driveway all the way around and plug it in. Because of my service is over there on that part of the house, it's been deemed that's the proper location for it. It will be difficult to put it in other spots.
So when you say your service, you're talking about your electrical panel?
Correct.
And is it also that the gas line is in that area?
Correct. All my meters and everything are over there.
And in terms of any other area, is it accurate that you have doors, windows, and other things that would get in the way of trying to put it in a different location.
Correct.
And I have been out to the property. That side of the house, if you would explain to the board, is screened pretty well. And if the board would note that in the application, there are 4 photos which show actually where the generator is going. They show the screened area with trees and shrubs, etc., and they show it from different angles. So, Ms. Denning, if you would just explain, in that section of your property, are there a lot of trees, shrubs? I mean, is it well
It's
shielded
heavily,
from your
we have
neighbor?
we have the homes on my side of the top are very close together. So we, for privacy reasons, put in a lot of evergreens, and you really can't see through that.
And if you would tell the board, your neighbor to your immediate left,
Mm-hmm.
that portion of their house, is that their garage?
It's the garage and driveway.
Okay. All right. And when you bring out your portable generator, you hook it up in the same location that this natural gas generator is going to go?
Correct. And the portable one is quite loud.
Okay. Now, since you're speaking about the volume, in your packets as well is the Generac brochure, so to speak, what the generator that they're getting. If you could tell the board a little bit about that, its efficiency, the sound, because you brought that up.
It's I don't know the decibels without going back in there, but it is substantially less. It's in place. It will run our whole house, where the portable one doesn't. We have to constantly take food from one fridge, move it to another. You can't use your ovens. You can only use certain things. When we have outages, the last one we were just out recently over the summer, it was 14 days, and you're left without power in half of your house. You can't use your central air. You can't use your ovens. It really becomes a quality of life issue.
And just with regard to what you stated a little while ago, bringing out that portable generator, didn't you indicate that it's getting more difficult? Is that because either you or your husband have some sort of a physical
My
inability to do it any longer?
He has back injuries. In fact, he just had to have back surgery. So we have to drag it from our garage, which is the other side of the house, all the way up our driveway, across the lawn, and onto the side of the house. And it's something he physically cannot do anymore, and I'm just not strong enough to do it.
Okay. All right. And before you selected the generator that you're proposing, did you investigate other generators? Is there a reason why this is the one that you selected?
This one has the best product reviews. It is the quietest out of all of them. And it is, like I said, it has the best reviews of maintenance and use.
Okay. In general, then, this generator would improve the quality of your life over there. Is that right?
Oh, 100%. We lose power, like I said up here, minimum 2 times, sometimes 3 to 4 times a year for days on end.
So it would allow for a better use of your property for you and any visitors that come to your property, correct?
Absolutely. We'd have heat, we'd have air, right now when our power goes out, we can't use our kitchen. Like I said, the garage refrigerator, we have to carry all the food up to the kitchen refrigerator.
And is it your intent that when you put in this generator that you will also add additional screening with either shrubs or
Yes.
trees so that it will not be visible even from the street?
No, will not be visible. We're going to add some more evergreens around it. With the setback, I think we have to be 3 feet off of it, 3 or 4 feet off of it, but we're going to put more evergreens in.
Okay. I don't have any additional questions for Ms. Denning.
Thank you. Members of the board, questions? On
I
the
just have one just about if we approve this, that we limit the exercising of the generator to weekdays in the afternoon.
That's fine.
Actually, I believe that in the information that was in your packet, there's a way to set it so that we will, apply or obviously do whatever the board indicates in terms of the best timing for it to do its maintenance.
Okay, and I can see from the photos here that this is, it will be well hidden. Have you discussed it with your neighbor or?
Yes, they're fine with it.
On the survey here, I think it's just, I just want for the record, I mean, it's only this part that's highlighted here. This looks like an old survey with new walkway, new driveway. I just to ensure that we're only talking about this proposed generator here.
All we're talking about.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that a little louder?
And that the survey which was provided was one that was used for a previous application. So there's a lot of other side notes that are on here. It might be useful just to get this cleaned up and resubmit just the same thing, but without all of these, old projects on here.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we had given, this was the only survey that they had for the property. So rather than have a new survey done, Mike Disco had indicated that this would be fine.
These other things are just kind of whited out. This way, just it's a clean copy.
Okay, that's no problem.
Like just here was.
One thing for me, and otherwise I'm good. These generators, they emit exhaust, and right now there's vegetation on the place where the generator would be. Would that vegetation be removed?
Yes, but I'll let you answer, Ms. Denning, because I know you had indicated that needed to happen first.
Yes, so what they said I have to do is I have a trellis that I let my, like a flowering ivy grow over. I was already told I have to move that. I have to move the pavers over a foot and take out that vegetation. They already told me I have to do that.
Okay, that was my only concern. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the board with questions? Discuss the timing be something inobtrusive middle of the week. That would be added to the resolution, to the application, right? So, okay, I think seeing there's no questions, are any members of the public that wish to be heard? No, okay, since we're none, send it to board for a motion.
Move to approve on the previously stated conditions.
Second.
Okay, Jen?
Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
Poltrock,
Yes.
Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
Mr. Furstenbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Sahada,
Yes.
and Chairman Schnur.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I thank the board, and I would also like to ask whether we can waive resolutions so that they can put in this generator before the memorialized resolution is received. At their own risk, of course,
Okay.
with proper permits.
Bruce, I thought we had said that was not a necessary step, but I mean, I know we've done it in the past. I think it's fine.
Having spoken to the chairwoman, we've agreed to allow that request as long as no members of the board object.
Okay. Any objections?
Nope.
No objection.
Okay.
No objections.
I think you're good to go then.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, one thing, having nothing to do with this application, I just thought of it. On the previous one for Bohr,
Yes. Same.
would we have the same consideration of waiving resolution?
Anybody have objections for for Mr. Bohr's application? We can start before the memorialization. Okay, seeing there's none.
No.
Good to go.
Just to be clear, I'm not sure I was present during that application, so I'll just abstain.
Okay, thank you. Any of the members that heard the application have any issues?
As long as he still does what he's supposed to do with the engineering department, I think, then he's fine.
Yep, okay.
I'm with Mr. Poltrock.
Absolutely, everything would be done in accordance with the engineering department permits, whatever is required.
Okay, got it. Good to go. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think there's nothing further. Motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.